Hi everybody, I'm Herschel Walker. Don't go anywhere because Profiles is coming up next.
Welcome to Profiles. I'm Tiffany Hodges. Today's guest is Herschel Walker, who is widely regarded as one of the greatest players in the history of college football. Walker earned consensus All-American honors 3 consecutive years and capped a sensational college career by earning the 1982 Heisman Trophy in his junior year. After a short break, we'll join our host, Mickey Burns, as he welcomes the talented Herschel Walker to Profiles. Welcome back to Profiles. Herschel Walker spent 12 years in the NFL, where he rushed for more than 8,000 yards and scored 61 rushing touchdowns. Walker recently stunned the sports community with the release of his book titled Breaking Free, which chronicles his life in dealing with multiple personality disorder. So let's join our host, Mickey Burns, on location from the heart of New York City as he welcomes football legend Herschel Walker to Profiles.
Herschel Walker, welcome to our show, Profiles.
Thank you for having me on.
It's my pleasure. Of course, for our viewers, you're widely regarded as one of the greatest college football players that ever played the game. You also went on to a legendary NFL career with the Dallas Cowboys, Minnesota Vikings, Philadelphia Eagles, and of course, our New York Giants.
Yes.
In your 12 seasons in the NFL, your numbers certainly rank among the top as far as productivity for running backs in the history of the NFL. However, you never played on an NFL championship team. Is that one of your biggest sports disappointments?
Not really. I think my biggest sports disappointment is, and I said this when I was leaving the game, is I don't think the Minnesota Vikings ever did fans. Not really the team. The players knew what I could do, but I don't think the fans ever got a chance to see me play. And I think when people come to a game, I think the players owe it to the fans to give them their very best.
Mm-hmm.
But I was in a situation where I really couldn't play. I was what they call the owners. They brought me in. The
Right.
coaches really was not happy with that trade,
Mm-hmm.
and so I was caught in the middle. And I think the fans suffer from it. And
Sure.
I don't think they ever got a chance to see me play. And I thought I owed it to them for them to get a chance to see me play in Minnesota.
Sure. I also read somewhere that in all the years that you competed in sports, that you never read articles about yourself.
Right.
Is that true?
No, that's true.
And why was that?
Well, I figured I knew myself better than the people writing articles. And I didn't want to read about myself and read something that I didn't know about myself, and at the same time read something that I would have thought was something that would have made me upset.
Sure.
And the reason why is I think when you have doubt,
Uh-huh.
or someone try to put doubt or something negative in your mind, it can affect you forever. And that's one thing
Good
I tell
point.
people is don't worry about that. You know yourself. You know what you're doing. I don't like to watch film of myself when I used to play.
Don't like it?
Yeah, I hate watching film of myself when I used to play because I can always see mistakes. I think you got to be your worst critic.
Very good. A lot of entertainers, singers, and Broadway people feel the same way.
Yes. Well, that means I could have been a Broadway star. I decided to do football.
Now, you're currently celebrating the release of your latest book called Breaking Free, My Life with Dissociative Identity Disorder, which chronicles your life in dealing with multiple personalities.
Yes.
In fact, you were diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder. Why did you decide to go public with this?
Well, the reason I decided to go public is, people know me as a football player. They know me as this person that do all these great things, and that's all well and good. But
Yeah.
God don't really care about the Dallas Cowboys. And a matter of fact, He don't really care about the Giants. What He cares about is what you've done for someone else. I've been fortunate to make a lot of money in football. I've been fortunate that my businesses are doing well. But what's strange about it, if I had not come public, I think I would have been alive because I struggle.
Yeah.
8 years ago, if you had seen me, I don't know whether you could have seen the struggle, but I would have been lying to you to sit here and tell you that I'm doing well because I really wasn't.
Yeah.
And I think it's been demonized. There's really multiple personalities. People have demonized it because of Sybil and Three Faces of Eve. And I'm just wanting for people to know that, you know, you're not a demon. You're not crazy, and you're not a freak.
Right.
What it is you're coping with something that is very horrible, but you're normal.
Right.
And that's why I want to show that I'm normal. You know, there was times when I did some things that I didn't like, but I'm normal. I'm like any other man that struggled, that has faults. But you can correct those faults, but you got to get help. And that's the reason I came forward with the book.
You know, people with this condition, I'll call it, we're pretty much thought to be crazy.
Right.
That perception, thanks in part to your advocating, is kind of changing, isn't it?
Well, that's what I want to show people. That, and my reason also is I think a lot of wives in professional sports, husbands are suffering from it, and they don't, and they didn't know what was going on.
Don't know what it is.
And this is an avenue to say, guys, this is something you ought to just look at. Now, I'm not saying you have it.
Right.
You know, there's some people that have an alcohol problem that has this.
Sure.
And I'm not saying because you're an alcoholic, you're DID.
Right.
But it could be that if you're DID, you could be an alcoholic. And the same as drugs, it could be related. So I'm saying, guys, it's okay to admit that you have a problem.
Sure.
You know, this is not that you're a he-man. You're just human.
Sure. Now, according to Merck, the Merck Manual of Medical Information, dissociative identity disorder is a rare mental condition in which one person has two or more distinct personalities. What multiple personalities did you develop?
Well, I developed a bunch. I call a warrior, a guy that loved to compete, a hero, a guy that can compete, that's going to win. You know, I developed something that I used to say was like a general. You know, I wrote an article. I didn't write the article. That was an article written that I said that my body's like an army. I trained my mental attitude that I had, so I kept everything in order. I kept everything together. And then I had someone that consoled, someone that can speak. You know, I used to have a speech impediment as a little kid.
Right, stutter.
And I used to stutter. And then I was picked on there like a bully. So I was picked on. And so I developed all these characteristics to fight this back. Right. And in some ways, it was very good for me because it was very successful for me in football. It's been very successful with me in my business world. But then in my personal life, that's where it started to affect it. And that's why I said sometimes when you bring the football aspect into your personal life, that's when you got problems.
Right. Now, you developed this multiple personality trait as a coping mechanism, as you said, also to deal with the loneliness and isolation that you felt as an adolescent. And in doing so, you created what are known as alters.
Right.
And explain to us just a little bit. Explain what alters are.
Well, alter is, and I help people understand a little bit better by saying, you know, a young man, a young baby, a young boy growing up, and he's crying because he's afraid of the dark.
Yep.
And the mom and dad say, you know what, we're going to let him get used to the dark. He'll get used to the dark and fall asleep. Well, the next morning, the little kid get up, and he's sitting down at the breakfast table, and dad comes down. And as dad's getting ready to sit in this chair, little Johnny go, Dad, don't sit on Charlie. Charlie's sitting there. Don't sit on Charlie.
Okay.
So dad goes over and sits somewhere else.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, to dad, Charlie really don't exist. It's just little Johnny's
But it does to the kid, because that's what got him through the night.
Kid, that's what got him through the night. That was his alter. That was his coping mechanism. So it's just a coping mechanism to overcome some trauma that he may have suffered at the hands of someone else, or maybe some trauma of something that he may have seen. So
like you might have as an adolescent with your stuttering when the other kids would make fun of you.
Right.
And also you had a weight problem.
I was a little bit obese. I was a little bit, I don't want to say a little bit, I was obese. I didn't love myself. I didn't like myself. And because of this stuttering situation, kids made fun of me. And then if you're a little bit fat, it's going to be even worse.
You're picked on.
And then I had teachers that used to put me in a corner at that time and told me I was special. So, you know, when you put down a kid, you know, he's going to put himself down.
Sure.
And that's what I did. You know, and it was fortunate that I had two parents and my siblings that we loved each other.
Yeah.
Then even though I would come home and they would like pick me back up, but it was sort of like this going back and forth.
Yeah, well, the peer pressure is
peer pressure is very
serious,
strong.
Very
that is very strong.